Hey guys, welcome to EV News. This is our 9th episode tonight, getting close to that magic 10. Let us know who's here and where you're viewing from in the comments if you don't mind, and we'll get straight into it. All right, let's get a bit of view there so it doesn't cut off. Okay, so yeah, a few things this week. I know I've been always fairly hard on hydrogen as a hydrogen fuel cells and hydrogen powered vehicles as a fuel source, but I think I've actually got a good news story, actual useful implementation of hydrogen. So we'll just hang on, I've lost my slideshow. Stand by. Yeah, so apparently the Ukrainians managed to find a way to make hydrogen useful by taking a Toyota Mirai and stuffing it with a little bit of C4 to set off the hydrogen fuel cell, and managed to destroy a Russian military building. Can't verify the full authenticity of it, but it does show it, the fuel cell being driven over a narrow bridge by a land drone. And yeah, there's a fair few reports floating around. Some say it was combined with plastic explosives. Some will say it wasn't. It was just the hydrogen fuel cell, but it sounds like it might have been set off by the plastic explosive. But at least they've managed to find a useful use of hydrogen fuel cells. And another report, class action lawsuit in California now due to the promises that were made by Toyota to the purchasers of the Mirai vehicles. And there's only a handful of charging stations available in the whole state, and they're closing down by the sounds of things. So, yeah. Hey, Kev, how you doing? How's Adelaide going and settling in okay? Thanks for being a member of the channel and supporting the channel. Very much appreciated. And last bit of hydrogen news, another study. So a further blow to the whole hydrogen idea, showing that even the previous studies were a little bit ambitious, and that it's actually 5 times more expensive than they even thought before. That's even factoring in assumed technological advances between now and 2050. It's going to remain 5 times more expensive than they previously thought. It wasn't viable then. So, yeah, I mean, given hydrogen's gone nowhere in decades, while BEV technology continues to improve with cost plummeting, you can imagine where we'll be in by 2050. A lot more advanced than we are currently as far as the battery technology and that kind of thing. So really not looking good for hydrogen. Yeah, that's awesome, mate. I'm really glad to hear you got your order in, and we'll be experiencing the Tesla Joy very shortly by the sounds of things. All right, so on to more positive things. Saw this little graphic showing the vehicle lifetime emissions. So this includes building the vehicle, building the battery, building the engine, building the motors in the battery vehicles, the whole works. Comparing a petrol ute, different size SUVs, cars, EV ute, hybrids. So yeah, look, and then depending whether it's charged with solar or not, you can see there that the total cost for an EV is minuscule compared to even a small petrol car, including all the manufacturing costs, all that kind of thing. So definitely those that want to make that argument are barking up the wrong tree. This doesn't really take into account the recycling ability of the battery vehicles. The recycling industry is certainly taking off. The only thing hampering it is there's not enough actual failed batteries to really make it as profitable as it will be in the future. So as more and more vehicles hit the roads and get older and older, they'll start having those batteries that are 20, 30 years old that need to be recycled, and that's when that industry is really going to kick off, and that'll then further improve that life cycle emissions data. So yeah, again, that's one of the ones that for some reason some of these anti-EV crowd, while they're driving their big diesel utes that belch out black smoke, want to say that the EV is so bad for the environment due to the production costs. That graph there really shuts that down completely. Another not so good news one. We spoke a little bit last week, I think it was, talking about fires in car parks and the fact that there hadn't been any EVs that had caused any significant damage to other vehicles in a car park. Unfortunately, in the last week, that has been I guess that run has been broken. A Mercedes EQE caught fire, I think it was in South Korea, took out 140 vehicles. So there's quite a bit that came out of this actually, because the biggest issue that came out was in the follow-up investigation, Mercedes-Benz were really reluctant, is probably the kindest word, to disclose who manufactured the batteries. And in the end, it turned out they're actually using a budget Chinese battery maker called Farasis, who produce, compared to CATL and BYD and the big name brands, don't produce many batteries at all, and really are a very budget brand. And it's pretty surprising given that Mercedes do have a partnership with CATL. But you think with a car like this, that's a very high-end, expensive car, that they wouldn't be cheaping out so much on such an important component. But look, I'm not saying these batteries are a fire hazard. I think any EV battery that's got the stats show that they are still a lot safer than an ICE vehicle as far as fires go. But not all batteries are created equal. We saw the data last week that showed that the Tesla was 10% less likely to be involved in a fire than another EV. But the fact that they refused, they were very reluctant to reveal the source of the batteries, and that they're using such a no-name brand was pretty shocking. And South Korea now looking to introduce a law to force makers to reveal the source of their batteries. Hey, Hal, good to see you. Thanks for your support as well with being a member of the channel. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one, Hal. I'm not sure what the background of the actual fire, what caused the fire, but I do know that this company has had a few recalls. So who knows? But obviously, the Mercedes-Benz owners are upset about it. That it isn't a CATL battery, and the fact that they've gone to a budget supplier for a premium vehicle. So it's a shame. They're great looking vehicles, the EQEs, but obviously safety hasn't been their top priority, and that's the one thing that I think Tesla, I'm glad they don't compromise on. That's the reason I went for Tesla, is that they have very much got safety as their top priority in all their vehicles. And if there's a few of the German brands that I'm not sure if they're all using the same supplier or not, but they've had a sort of outsized number of fires compared to the likes of Tesla and BYD. So yeah, hopefully they'll fix the issue and go to a better supplier. It'll be interesting to see what actually caused the fire, whether it was any damage like you suggest there, but we'll have to see. All right, back to some more positive news. International Energy Agency published some data showing that BEV sales are on track to reach 17 million this year. So there's still a very strong growth we can see. If we look at the curve heading up in 2024, despite all the media is, there definitely is strong growth, but you can see China has got an outsized portion of those sales in the orange there. China in the orange, Europe in the blue, US in the green, and the rest of the world. So it looks like about 2020, China really made the choice to invest in BEVs, and it's really paid off for them. I know we talked about last week that 50% of vehicle sales now in China are BEVs or EVs. I think that included hybrids as well, but so it's looking good. So yeah, the fact that these legacy auto brands are really starting to struggle with those large lead times. The days of supply are well over 100, heading to 150 in some cases. And Tesla's sitting at 17 currently, and often dipping in single digits. It's a massive difference, and that's the reason why Tesla seemed to get hit by bad sales or drips in sales a lot quicker, because the legacy auto have that dealer market that absorb all of it for them. They can keep pumping these cars out with 100 odd days of supply, and they don't actually notice the drops until 3 or 4 months later in the track. It's also interesting too with the sales data. When you look at different sales data, where legacy with their dealership networks, they count a sale as soon as the vehicle lands in the dealer network, they've sold it as far as the sales data goes. Whereas Tesla, the sale happens when the customer walks out of the showroom and drives out of the showroom, or out of the delivery center. So, it on one hand helps Tesla to respond to changes quicker because they haven't got that long lead time of supply. But on the other hand, it skews sales data as well. It looks like it doesn't show the bad sales data for legacy auto until 3 or 4 months later. I think I showed that one. And yeah, to give you completely correct, since 2019, ICE vehicle sales worldwide have been going down. So they peaked in 2019, and they'll never be at that level again. So there's definitely the writing on the wall. This is a similar chart, but it goes out to 2027, the projections. So we can see again, China's definitely got the bulk of the market there, and we've got all the different regions there. But looking at the projections, interesting, Japan there in the yellow, really not taking the whole BEV. So you can only hope that the Western countries like Australia and the US start, and making the right investments and starting to grow that percentage, because it's pretty abysmal compared to China at the moment. US had pole position with the best manufacturer of EVs, and they squandered that. So plug-in hybrids are really starting to die off in China, and ICE is obviously on the decline as well. So we really need to start making those moves. Otherwise, it's going to be all China. Yeah, so the other part of that, I think, is that ICE vehicles with the scale of the scale economies of scale, as they continue to drop in sales, and these lead times, these days of inventories keep increasing. That's only going to keep getting worse. So yeah, the ICE vehicles are going to keep going up in price, and this just going to be less profit for them if they don't start investing in the right technologies. It's going to be really bad news. So just to show how things are in China, this is a Chinese delivery center, and just take a look at the amount of traffic, the amount of people waiting there to pick up their cars. When I went to pick up mine in Canberra, it was just me, and most people, there's only a few people there, but that's just one Chinese delivery center on a random day. You can see how many people they're getting pumped through. That's crazy. But you certainly see that Tesla is certainly not going to be struggling anytime soon. For Europe sales, this is the top selling vehicles in Europe up till June 2024. Tesla Model Y is still king. Model 3, these electric vehicle sales. And there's the rest of the list there. So the figures coming through, I haven't got the latest for I haven't got the latest for China, but looking very good actually. This really starting to turn around. Definitely the conditions at the moment aren't great, but they seem to be on track to beat last year's sales. Okay, so according to the Driven, there's an article recently showing that only 45 petrol-powered vehicles were sold in Norway through the whole month of July, and full BEV vehicles hit a record of 92%. So Norway is certainly the lead country as far as percentage of vehicles. There's no doubt about that. They haven't got the market power that China has as far as being such a large market, but that's pretty amazing. Only 45 petrol-powered vehicles in July. Hybrid sales there are down to 4.8% of vehicles sold. They were 14% last year, so hybrid is really starting to drop off in Norway, and everyone's going now full BEV. So yeah, like I was just saying, the writing's on the wall for Legacy Auto, and as the rest of the world starts catching up, then the tipping point's going to come very soon where just making ICE vehicles is going to become unprofitable due to that economies of scale. Yeah, not only an oil-rich country, but a country that has very cold temperatures as well. Apparently, BEVs don't work well in cold temperatures, but they forgot to tell the Norwegians. A lot of the Scandinavian countries actually have very, very high percentages of BEVs now. Okay, so another bit of news that came through is a budget Model 3. It's a Model 3 rear-wheel drive. It's only available in Mexico now. So there's a number of changes. You don't get the heated and cooled seats. The ambient lighting is now just white only. Cloth seats. No rear screen. And no acoustic glass in the back screen. So only the front passenger and front windscreen. Same slide twice. And yeah, reduced number of speakers. So the price point they're saying $35,000 US, include when you factor in exchange rates, which is roughly what people are getting the full version in the US for with tax credits. So it's not a massive saving. So yeah, I don't know if that'll translate anywhere else. I doubt it by the sounds of things. If it's not going to be that much of a saving, there's so much point. But we'll see what happens with that. That's just come through this week. Another interesting one is we saw Unplugged Performance and Upfit were the guys that did the Cybertrucks and the Model Y, Model 3 police vehicles. They've now produced a military version of the Cybertruck, so much upgraded armor to withstand higher caliber projectiles, IEDs. It's got an armor plate under the bottom as well, explosives. So I think it's bulletproof windows as well. So interesting. Not sure, Kev. Couldn't tell you for certain. Hopefully someone else can comment. Another good news story. Farzad is his channel is called Farzad, I believe. That's the logo there. If you haven't seen it, he's a really good guy. Does some really balanced reporting on Tesla. Ex-Tesla employee. Does some really good stuff. But he had this guy on, Brandon, who is a used car salesman, used car dealer. Very self-confessed petrol head. He was very anti-EV. Really didn't believe in the Tesla. He had his first drive in a Tesla, I think it was a good 3 months ago, and said he was pretty impressed. He thought he'd try and pick up a second-hand Tesla and give it a go, just see what it was like. He gave this. If you search for the video under the Farzad's channel, it's just a really good video to watch. So he's come back after owning actually ended up buying two Teslas. So he bought a 2019 Model S and a 2019 Model 3. Pretty safe to say he's now a Tesla convert. He did have a few negative points on the car, mainly build quality, which is no surprise. The early Fremont vehicles of the 2019 vintage were well known for those issues. He does make a very valid point, though. It's well and good to acknowledge that those vehicles weren't great, and that they've improved quite a bit since then. But there'll be many people in the second-hand market buying those older vintage vehicles and maybe being turned off. But that said, he's loved them. He's made the statement that he'll be buying Teslas for the conceivable future as his daily driver after only owning them for, I think he's only owned it for about a month or even less than that. But loved the Tesla driving experience. Is the guy that, like most of the anti-EV crowd, previously made comments about having no soul and that kind of stuff. But as soon as he puts that foot down, he loves it. So loves the fact he hasn't been to a gas station in 2 months, which is another surprising comment from a petrol head. He had really severe concerns about charging, and that was one of his biggest gripes in the previous videos of months gone by, that he just didn't understand how the charging experience. He sort of swallowed all the FUD, I guess. Thought he was going to be charging for hours and having to visit superchargers all the time. But he's now said, the charging's absolutely no problem. Changed his tune entirely from being an issue to just being absolutely zero problem. It was interesting, though. He said that no amount of advertising or education would have ever convinced him of that previously. He just had to try it himself, and that was the only way he was going to get the understanding of how easy it is to charge. Having it charged overnight and getting in the morning every morning with it full charge if you need to. It's really a non-issue. So he acknowledges there'll always be a small minority who EVs won't work for, but he's convinced now that an EV will work for 95% of people. And to hear that coming from someone who just a few months ago was, very, very skeptical and negative. It's night and day. It's also funny to hear him describe the experience of dealerships. He tried to buy them through a dealership and as a second-hand dealer, and basically said, don't ever buy from a dealer. That's coming from a second-hand dealer himself, so it was interesting to hear. But the Tesla buying direct sales experience is just so much better than going to a dealer. So I definitely agree with that. He has got his own channel now. I thought I had it in the notes here, but I don't have it. But if you go to Farzad's channel, you'll see it, and there'll be a link to his channel as well. So he started his own EV channel sort of aimed at the ICE market, which is going to be interesting. It's he's obviously got a large following already on his other channels. So somebody who's now being converted, it'll be interesting to see how that goes with the ICE crowd. We spoke about Xpeng coming to Australia last week. Some of the new vehicles they debuted in Melbourne, but I'm also hearing now that they're planning to bring out their own charging network as well, which is fantastic. I really think that these manufacturers really should be, any serious EV manufacturer should be building out their own network as well, not just relying on Tesla and others, the other very small ones. These have got some pretty amazing charging speeds too with the 800 volt architecture. So definitely great to see. That's good. I wasn't sure about that because I know that they have a kind of a dealer network, but having the standard pricing is definitely helpful. All right. So another cool EVs. We had the Dodge Charger last week we showed, and now we've got a company building a new EV DeLorean. So the company's called Lynx Motors, and this is the concept. They've got pre-orders going in now for a new version of DeLorean. That's the inside. Looks pretty cool, but the price point's $300,000 US, so definitely not a cheap vehicle. So I don't know how well that will go. I know there's a couple of original DeLoreans going around that have been converted to EVs using the Tesla powertrains. So that may be a better option, but it's pretty cool to see. I'm not sure, Hal. I got the impression they were American based, but I would have to look them up and do some more research. But Lynx Motors is the name, LYNX. I got the impression it was American, but I'm not certain on that. All right, so moving on to supercharger news. So more great detective work by Chuck on the TMC forums. He's identified some council documents and the likely location of the upcoming Port Augusta Tesla supercharger site in South Australia. So I believe it's a car park there or somewhere around here. It's good to see South Australia getting some more love. I know they've got a few areas there that could do with more charging sites, and I'm sure Kev will be happy. And another one, a long-awaited one, was on again, off again, and a lot of angst. People sharing leaks from councils and that kind of stuff for Glenelg in South Australia. So this is the Partridge Street East car park in Glenelg, and they've started construction there now of the Tesla superchargers. The information I saw was that there were 2 full boxes, potentially 8 superchargers. That isn't confirmed just by the size of the boxes, that they felt there were two full boxes of 4. So it may be 6. I had heard 6 banded about as well. So another one for Kev there. Hey, Sensei. Kev doesn't have a blue spanner. That's because you changed the count. Yep. All right, I'll do that. Give me one sec. All right, there we go. Yes, didn't realise. And Sensei, thanks also for being a member and supporting the channel. Definitely much appreciated. All right, so that's the Glenelg. So that's two new sites in South Australia that are either under construction or going through the final phases of planning. And this is the Hollywood Tesla supercharger and dyno. We've shown some construction shots as it's going through. Definitely starting to take shape even more now. Looking pretty cool. Okay, so another blow to the can't drive a EV on a road trip crowd. Variety just launched a trek from Perth through Carnarvon, Broome, Darwin, Uluru, Coober Pedy, Adelaide, and back to Perth again via the Nullarbor. So they've got two vehicles going through. It's a new Model 3 there. And I think they're both Model 3s, 10,000 kilometres. So, yeah, another example. As far as updates go, we've got a new summer update. I've just got it on my car and released a video on it during the week. It's now rolling out at en masse 26.7. Looks like over 50% of the vehicles now are, or just around 50% of vehicles now are on the 26 branch, including the latest FSD versions, which marks a change from, late last year, even early this year. The FSD versions in the US were lagging behind quite a bit from the main releases. So it's great to see that they're now very quickly catching up with the newest branches. And it's an indication that we're much closer to mainstream FSD, which is great to see. Excellent. That's the slides for tonight. Has anyone else got any news tips? Good question, Hal. Yes and no. For the main releases, they pretty much just go out to everybody. There is an option in the car to select advanced or normal as far as releases. That supposedly gets you on the list to get earlier releases that may not have gone through as much testing. For the regular releases, that really doesn't do anything. So especially in Australia, it doesn't really do anything. But for the FSD versions in the US, that they've confirmed only very recently that setting, they do look at that and they do release some of the newest FSD builds to those vehicles before other vehicles. So yeah, I haven't had any official confirmation whether they use it in Australia. I've had mine on advance the whole time, but I've known of people that don't have it on advance and get things at the same time generally. It's really a bit of a lottery. They obviously don't release to all their vehicles at once because that would be unmanageable. So they tend to release them in batches. It doesn't hurt to keep it on advance if you want to have those latest releases. It may not, always mean that you get the releases first. And sometimes you see them release a number of point releases at the same time, doing alpha beta testing potentially, or just doing getting different results from different tweaks and that kind of thing. Commit from Sensei. Yep, absolutely. We just talked about some of that earlier. and Xpeng as well. I was saying it's really fantastic to see Xpeng bring out a charging network. But yeah, we had Zeekr and Xpeng on the live stream last week. Some of the photos from the Melbourne event. Yeah, Powerwall 3. I'm going to try and get a video on that as soon as I can. I had a coffee with the owner of one of the big solar providers here in Canberra, and I was chatting with him quite a bit about Powerwall 3. He was about to go and do the training course. Had already done some stuff with Tesla on him. He's very excited about it. Cleared up a few misconceptions I had. So yeah, as soon as he gets some in stock, I'll do a video with him and tear one apart and have a look at it and that kind of thing, and see what we can get as far as information. One of the big things I came away from that chat with him on was the string inverters. My concern about the Powerwall 3 was that it doesn't support microinverters, but the Australian version apparently can support up to 6 strings of solar panels. So essentially, you can do the same that you would do with microinverters by using the string inverters anyway, having them split up to six areas in your roof. So you get the same advantages as you do. So I'll obviously get a lot more technical information than that, and be great to sit down with him and get him in a video to explain all the differences. But everything I'm hearing is sounding really good. That was really the only concern I had with the Powerwall 3 over the Powerwall 2, which I've got currently. But it'd be good to see. And yeah, not having to have a separate inverter is obviously going to save a lot of installation and even the hardware costs. So that's great to see. I'm keen to see how they do with these expansion modules too. That'll be, a basic battery module without all the extra bits. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Yes, I did show your photo there, Kev, of the Hay Supercharger, and I saw your little video there. It's great. That Hay Supercharger was one that I was really looking forward to. It's one of those last sort of missing pieces for that Sydney to Adelaide drive. It's a shame you didn't have your Tesla tested out. Make sure to jump on Kev's channel too and subscribe there. I'm sure he's going to have some good stuff on that channel. What else we got? Any other questions or comments or bits of news? Yeah, well, look at it this way. That's your last road trip in a nice vehicle, most likely. So have you got any trips planned when you get the car? Yeah, the Metro, Queensland Metro, okay. All battery powered. I did notice a few battery powered buses while I was up there on the last trip. It was good to see. I'll have to check that out. Ah, nice. Yeah, the Brosses definitely one of my favourites, as you know. I'm assuming you say Melbourne is on the cards. Yeah, the Melbourne to Adelaide trip is pretty easy if you go the direct route. Even going the Great Ocean Road, if you want to check that out again, yeah, it's a nice little trip. I might have mentioned it once or twice. I'll have to get back down there at some point. Did the Queensland to Barossa trip. It'll be a good one. Yeah, unfortunately not. I wasn't able to get down there. Some interesting vehicles, obviously, on display there. We had the pictures of that from last week's show, but I didn't make it down in person. I'm hoping to get to the Sydney one potentially. It may conflict with another trip I'm doing up to Brisbane, so we'll see how we go. We have got an event down here in Canberra, which is a World EV Summit of some sort. I'm planning to go to that one. It's probably not going to be that big, but I'll see how it goes and try to get some video of it. Yeah, we'll do, mate. Won't be for a little while yet. All right, if we've got no more comments, we might wrap it up there. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about, actually, Sensei. I'm hoping to get there. We'll see how we go. I know I've got a planned trip to Brisbane sometime in November. I'm not sure exactly what dates yet, so we'll see how that all works out, if I'm able to get up there or not, but I'll definitely try to get up there. We'll definitely have to do a meetup if everyone gets there. Yeah, for sure. I was actually talking to Riz from Ludicrous Feed about it today, actually, so we'll definitely try to get everyone together if we make it up there. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Don't forget, check Kev's channel out and give him a subscribe. I'm sure you guys are all subscribed to here already. If you aren't, just make sure you hit that like button as well and subscribe if you can. Otherwise, we'll be back next week, the same bat channel, the same bat time, and hopefully some more good EV news. Other than that, take care and safe driving. Catch you later.